Volume up. Let's see.
Hey, John.
Steve,
Hey, buddy.
welcome. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Thank you. Hey, Mike.
Hello.
I got it.
Hey, Heather.
How you doing?
Good.
Pretty good.
Thanks. And you?
Excellent. Okay, hanging in there. Here comes Janet. The trolley.
Yeah, Fitarelli.
Oh. Hi, Janet.
Hi.
Hey, great to see you, Janet.
I know, it's been a lot of years.
It sure has. Mike Ross, Steve Springer.
Hi.
Hello. How's it going? Welcome in.
It's going. You guys been doing this every month and I didn't know?
No.
Oh.
We only did it once or 2 times this year because we couldn't have a real reunion. We had a virtual reunion.
Oh, I didn't know. So this
It's
is
online, Janet. You can look at it and see.
I was poking around watching old videos and stuff and looking at
Yeah.
old photos.
And Lonnie is here. We'll get Lonnie to come in. You did already. Okay. And there's Vita and Tori.
Hi, Vita and Tori. Oh my goodness.
Here comes Conrad.
And Conrad.
Hey.
Oh my goodness.
Let's let her in.
She did. She
she
has to change her
Okay.
video. She's in.
Okay.
Hi, Lonnie. Can you hear us?
There you go.
Here's
There
Lonnie.
she is on the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Lonnie.
She looks like Laura.
Yeah.
Doesn't she?
Hello, John.
Hi, Conrad.
I have to wear the headset if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Otherwise, I won't hear anything.
Yes.
Who is that behind you?
Oh, that's Ellen.
I thought it might be. How are you doing?
Great, thank you.
I better move this so I can see me, and then perhaps you can see me as well.
Where is she?
Well, I am pleased. Good Lord, I haven't seen that delightful lady in,
That's you.
I'm talking about
Oh, I
years.
think since we were married, Conrad.
Oh,
1980.
in the big city. We
Yeah,
came to that wedding.
You and Betty came to our wedding. in
Yes, we did.
1983. Yeah,
Oh, I do remember that. We
yeah,
made very few ventures into the city from our place in Syosset.
yeah, yeah.
And
You know who that is?
Conrad, I would like to, yes, Pablo. I'd like to introduce you and everybody else to Lonnie. Lonnie was a dear friend of Milt's. She was a dean at Martin Luther King High School when Milt was head of security.
I'm seeing him sideways.
And Pablo,
Hey, how are you?
hello, Pablo.
Hello.
Pablo was
To meet you.
Milt's personal
Lonnie.
assistant for the last 2 years. And
4.
it's 4 years. Oh,
Yes.
4 years. And we've become very well acquainted with one another and looking forward to maintaining a friendship, even though this is a very sad time, quite frankly, for all of us. And I trust everyone here, including, hi, Kevin. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, how are
I
you?
trust everybody, and Johanna.
Hi.
Hi.
Ellen.
By
Why
the
am
way,
I cut off?
thank you, Johanna, for reaching out to Lonnie and for being a help to us in a very trying time.
Well, I'm happy to do it. Don't even thank me.
Is that you? Is that you? Bless you.
Hello, my dear. How are you, sweetie?
I'm the one with the headset.
I love them. I love them.
I live in a retirement community, the motto of which is less hair and more belly.
Well,
Lovely.
this is a different experience for all of us. We have never lost
Uh-oh.
a friend that we have all had in common. as dear to us as Milt was to every single person on the screen right now and others who will be joining us. But unfortunately, that's the reality that we face, and it's a new reality without him. In addition to celebrating Milt and our memories of him and our life that included Milt, we are also trying to welcome people who we haven't seen, in some cases like Janet, for 30, 40 years. And now we're able to reunite and catch up with one another a little bit. But unless they give us more time today, we'll be here for 30 minutes. And that's unfortunately the limit to our visit with one another.
But then you just click on the link again. If
Yes.
everybody decides they want more time, just
Right.
click on the same link and it'll
Oh.
reopen and you'll just keep
And you'll
going.
come back and we'll keep
Great.
going.
Okay.
I'm going to do as little talking as possible and leave it to all of you to just speak up and say whatever you feel in your heart you would like to say. And I think that it's enough if you introduce yourself and that we can take it from there. And I know that we'll extend the courtesy that we all deserve to one another. And it will not become a free-for-all. That I am absolutely certain of that. But I look forward to hearing what everyone has to say. And this, in order to answer your question, Janet, we can make this an ongoing experience. It is new to me. It's new to all of us. And here's Ken Reed visiting us. Janet, you'll remember Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Everyone,
Ken, great to see
Hey,
you.
Kenny.
good to see you.
Glad to have you back. And so, having said as little as I've said, I'm going to throw it to somebody right here and now to say whatever you'd like to. The news was sad, but we're getting along. We're getting on with it. And there's a lot of stuff on the internet now that, because Lonnie has shared with us, and Pablo has shared with us, and Judy Freilicher, who is not on the screen yet, has been webmastering for all of us and sharing it with the rest of you. Here we go. So welcome, one and all.
I seem to have light that does not complement this old face. And I see the others quite clearly.
You're good, but you have a light source, a strong light source somewhere there. Yeah,
Well, I could turn the light out and let's see what happens.
okay.
Oh my God.
That's
Oh, no.
Hey, Halloween already? I'm going to turn the overhead light on and see what happens.
All right.
Actually, once it adjusted the white balance, it wasn't so bad. You were less blue.
Well, maybe there's something to hide. I don't know.
In the middle.
I missed the memo on Milt. Did he pass recently?
He did. Why don't we ask Pablo to
Oh,
tell
that's a
that
little
part of
better.
the story? Because Pablo is the person who went and found Milt. And Pablo, why don't you speak for yourself?
Okay, sorry. I will try to speak something. Okay, I hope everyone there can understand to me. You know, sometimes my English is not the best, but I learned a lot in these last 4 years with Milton. He was a great teacher for me because I start my relationship with Milton on September 2016, 4 years ago. And I make the connection with him for Lonnie because in this time he was he was looking for help because he had many stuff to fix in his home. And I start like working for him, but every week, you know, we have a new stuff to do in this apartment, and I was so happy to help to him. And little by little was more, you know what, necessary stay with him every time, because I start with him one project because he have many stuff to fix, books, clean a few areas, because he have many boxes from one old house he saw before. But little by little was more and more and more and more. And this is my story with him. This is the reason because I start like a work with Milton 2 days per week. But finally, our connection can becoming a very good friendship, you know, because finally he's like my family here in United States, and I am from Chile, and Milton was really important person in my life, mostly in these last 4 years. And yeah, we spend many time together. In maybe 4 times is not too, sorry, maybe 4 years is not too much time, but to me, these 4 years was probably a big time of my life, because everything was new to me in this country. And Milton always, he was there to help me, to give me advice and talk with me. And he really was a very important person. He is a very important person in my life. And I am so happy to spend all the time with him. And now he's with me always, in my heart, in my memories and everything. He's with me, and I am sure with us, because, you know, everyone here have many stories with Milton. But yes, the last part of his life, I've been part of his story, but I am happy for this too, because I know we've been good friends, and I am so happy to be a good help to him in the last years of his life.
Pablo, I want to mention, particularly for Janet, who may not have known this, Milt lost his vision.
Oh.
A couple of years ago. He was suffering from glaucoma, macular degeneration.
Yes.
And had lost his vision. And Pablo was helping him at home with his personal affairs, computer and correspondence, etc., shopping, and also was introduced to Milt by Lonnie, who, as I said, worked with Milt at Martin Luther King High School. But what I was going to ask you to do, Pablo, if you could, if you wanted to explain how it was that you are the person who went to discover that Milt was no longer living. He was in his apartment, and you were the one who found him. So there the story that we are living with began. And the authorities came in and took over. And so
I can but understand and sympathize with that. As you know, I lost Betty in 2018, about 2 years ago. And once you establish a relationship, and we had one for more than 67 years, it creates a great void that is virtually impossible to fill. And so I understand. Yeah.
thank you, Conrad. Ona, I
Hi.
want to welcome you, and it's so wonderful to see you. And Milt would be cheering if he were able to be with us.
He is cheering.
And I suspect that you know that he has passed.
Yes, I sent you an email, John. That's why I'm here, to pay my respects. Maybe you didn't get it today, but Johanna told me the sad news, and I was very moved by it, and I wanted to be here to
Thank you.
honor, and also to honor the very particular relationship that you had with him as his, comrade and co-creator and beloved friend. And, I am very moved thinking also about the particular loss it represents for you.
That's true. Thank you for that. And I would call everyone's attention to the last Zoom that we did in August. And you may already have heard this, but I almost fell off the chair when I heard Milt as the last person to speak on that Zoom meeting that we had. Everybody was saying goodbye, see you next time, goodbye, goodbye. And Milt said something that I had never heard him hear. I never heard him say in all the years that I've known him. He said goodbye, and then he said, bless you all.
My goodness.
And
Yes.
that to me was astounding, because I have never heard Milt say such a loving and almost spiritual thing when I heard him. I didn't hear that until after I had news of his passing, but I can't tell you how I was moved. I was so happy to hear him say that, because I know how much he meant it. We, all of us here, were his family. He had lost every living member of his family. He was the last, with no brothers, no sisters, no aunts, no uncles, and his parents gone.
Found this today.
What's that?
I found this today.
You did.
Can you
And
see
what
what
is
I'm
it?
holding? Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Oh, here's the video. Bless you. Look at this.
It's a photo that I took of him in 1998 at the very first reunion that I had hosted
Oh,
at the Long Island hotel. I forget the name of the hotel. But I came across this photo today.
wonderful. Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Janet, that's great.
Excuse
Yeah.
me 1 second. Lonnie, can you hear us yet?
Yes.
No, Lonnie.
No.
No.
I don't think she can. I think she's trying to
She's
try
trying
the
to get to her iPad. I'm writing her chats on the side, trying to get her to find the little mic that's at the bottom left-hand corner.
Oh,
Okay, I'll continue to write to her.
What was the date that Milt passed away?
September 27th, I think.
Yes.
Yes. We don't know the specific day because
Right.
I found to
Oh.
him on September 27. I have my theory, probably was on 26 Saturday night,
Mhm.
because when I've been there, his home looks when Milton is ready to sleep, and nothing make me feel like oh, he sleep all the night and Sunday he start making stuff
Yeah.
and something happened. Looks like is the previously like he went to the bed and finally he was literal resting in the bed, and this is the way he went. How I found him in the bed, very peaceful.
Mhm.
But I have my impression everything this happened on probably Saturday night, and this is September 26th. But I found to him on next day on Sunday, this 27.
Mike, are you on? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. You know, my first memory of Milt was my first day at Maslow. I had been, pre-screened, so I kind of knew Conrad, but I didn't know anybody else. And it was like that first greeting day and orientation day. And I came in, and you got up and you spoke, and then Milt got up and spoke. And I was kind of an athletic kind of guy at the time. I was an accomplished martial artist at that point. And I remember Milt's physicality and his presence. He just had this presence, He was bigger than life. Not too many people can rock a vest, but Milt always could, And he had throughout the entire time that I known him, even up until just recently in some of the videos, Milt has always had an interesting, incredibly balanced poise, even when he was angry. You know, he could be roused and you could tell he was roused, but it was almost like he was presenting being roused because that was the appropriate thing to be at the time. You know, because he could be angry and still very gentle at the same time. I never saw him vicious when he was roused. More impassioned than anything else, I think. And he, like I said, he always had this incredible balance about him with everything that he did. He could be gentle, but still firm and strong. He was able to present everything. Even the way he stood was so, you know, proper amount of, like I said, I was an accomplished martial artist, proper amount of left to right balance and forward and back. He was like centered physically and as a person. And he was the first facilitator that I spoke to because I kind of clicked with him at that point. I was like, well, there's something about this guy. And I guess it was like that balance where I said, I kind of click with that and I want to talk to him. And when I got up, he was the first person that I tried to have a conversation with. I didn't know any of the students at that point. Well, one, Raymond LaMontagne. But none of the other students I really knew yet or the facilitators, aside from the introduction. But he was the first one that drew me in to talk with and to connect with. That was my initial memory of him. And I think that's the way I will probably always remember him. And I feel for you, Pablo, someone who became a really dear friend of mine from Maslow Toffler and I stayed connected with for years. Tony Polidoro passed about 2 years ago. Right. And I remember when he left, it was like, we were so connected that we always, when they called me to tell me that he had passed, I knew when the phone rang. And I had been feeling that there was something going on at the time. We always had that, like, you know, if we were in a room together or if we were hanging out even at a party, we always connected eye to eye across the room. We always were able to finish each other's sentences. We could carry out things like when we were paramedics together. We knew what the other person was doing and we always clicked. And that's hard to like break sync with. And I don't feel like I have. You know, he's gone, but I still feel that powerful connection. I believe that, you know, we do just change state. You know, it's like a glass of water. You know, it will eventually evaporate, but the water is still in existence. It's still there. It's just in a different state. But those are my memories of Milt.
So you talked about your friend who passed, and I couldn't reach out. I didn't know how to reach out. My sister Mary, who graduated in '79, just passed away.
Ah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
She passed away August 6th. So,
Sister, yes.
and I had no way to reach anybody, and there was no obituary in the newspaper or anything.
And you lost your brother John, too.
I lost John a couple of years before that. Yeah, he was a graduate, and he graduated '76. Mary was '79, and I was '80.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So we all know loss.
Yes, yes. God bless.
Excuse me.
Hey, John,
Yeah,
I wanted to, if I can share with everybody what you and I spoke about the other day.
sure.
I don't know if everybody knows, but we've been having this personal reunion for the last several years. And I reconnected to the union about 6 years ago because I ended up having to take care of my parents in New York and bring them here to Florida. And I lost both of them in the last 3 years. But what happened was John called me, I guess it was 3 years ago, 3 years ago. And he said, listen, Steve, Milt called and he said he's not going to be able to come to the reunion anymore because he's not comfortable taking the train to Long Island. I said, well, that's not going to happen. So I called Milt, and for the last 2 years before this year, when I flew in, I rented the car and I went and picked him up in Manhattan and drove him to Long Island and then drove him home. And I said to John, I said, see, that was meant to be because we got to see him for those 2 years. And then when John and I talked, and I said, I can't believe I can't come there and we can't have a reunion. And we talked about this. And thank God for Heather, because she was able to put this all together so that we can do this. And I said, see, we got to see him for the last time. If we didn't have this, we wouldn't. And so it just shows the importance of our relationship as a whole and what he meant to all of us. And I wanted to share something else to someone that's on this call, and that's Tori. Tori, I just wanted you to know, and I think about that little blonde little girl that ran up and down the halls, and then I remember seeing you so many years later when I got you to see the concert. But I wanted to let you know that when I drove with him all those hours back and forth 2 years in a row, that's all he talked about to me was you, because he was so proud of what you had accomplished. And I just wanted you to know that, because I know how important that is and how important it was for him and Mom. And I just wanted to share that. So.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Janet,
Yeah,
what was your maiden name?
Stump. Stump.
So then,
Three of
this
us.
is the first time you've seen Tori all grown up.
Yes, yes.
Oh, Janet, I remember you well.
I hope that's a
Now
good
that
thing.
now that I know who you are.
Now that I've attached that maiden name to it.
Yeah.
As soon
Yes.
as you said your brother John, I knew.
Remember Michael
Yes.
Bloom?
Yes, I remember Michael. Yep, yep. You look a
I was
little
the-
different.
I was
I
the
have
young
to
guy.
say.
What's that?
You look a little different.
Yes.
I was going through old photos. I said I better try and brush up on some names. I was going through the yearbook here, trying to remember some names and faces, but nobody looks the same.
I had a feeling when I saw Janet, I had a feeling it was you.
Yeah, yeah. It's me. I'm still around.
Question, is anybody familiar with Mac?
No, Max computers. No.
Because Lonnie can't get audio. Video, audio. She can only get video. She said she has a Mac, but I give up. I can't, I'm trying. I don't know enough about it.
Can she go onto her phone and use the Zoom app on her phone instead?
She said she doesn't have it on her phone. She can't do it. She tried her iPad, but it's not downloaded. So
I know I had a Zoom conference with someone with a Mac, and they had some problems. There's some special permissions that need to be given on the Mac.
Yeah, that's why. Okay. Thank you, Michael.
Well, tell her to stay with us because it's just good to see her face.
She said she sends her love to all. We'll have to communicate. Oh, she just wrote a chat to everyone. I send my love to all. We'll have to communicate another time. Text or email anytime.
She's probably getting frustrated. I don't blame her.
Yeah, here. What?
Frustrating.
Your email.
I can provide Lonnie's email.
Okay.
If anybody reaches out to me.
Yeah.
Lonnie, with your permission, I'll give your email to anyone
We
who
can't
wants
hear you.
to reach out to you.
Yeah, Janet, I remember your brother as well, John.
Yeah. Johnny died young, 56 years old. He died.
I
Oh,
do
no.
also. I don't think you and I didn't know each other, but John was my student in the regular high school, I think in 10th grade.
Yeah, Johnny died of a stroke at the age of 56.
Was he living in Montauk?
Yeah, he was living locally when he
He
died.
was. I thought he lived someplace out here, but
Yes.
I never ran into him. But I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm very shocked and sorry to hear that.
Thank you. Yeah.
By the way, Janet, I live in Oregon.
Oh. Well, I lived in Alaska and California, but then I came back east and now I'm in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
So I moved around a bit.
What part of Alaska?
I lived in Ketchikan.
Wow.
It's the lowest southeast point next to Seattle, so not too cold. It was nice there. I didn't plan on coming home, but God had other plans for me and ended up bringing me back east.
My brother lives in Anchorage and Nikiski.
I loved it there. Well, back then, in the early 80s, it was so uncharted and clean and wonderful. I can't say what it is now, but it was beautiful.
What part of Jersey do you live in?
I live in Central Jersey. I'm
It doesn't help me.
Oh, Freehold?
Oh, okay.
I'm in the Freehold area, so I'm in Howell, but most people don't know Howell, so I go Freehold. It's the biggest town next to me.
Right. She was born in Hawthorne.
Uh-huh.
No, Hackensack? Brentwood. Oh, sorry. I picked her up along
That's
the
okay.
way.
She doesn't know my birthday either.
Along the way and took her home.
Oh, that's good.
But we lived in Fairlawn.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been here a lot of years now in Jersey. I don't even know. My son is 30, so I've been here about 30 years in Jersey.
I wanted to say to everybody that if Milt were here in his personhood and we could hear from him, he would just be so grateful that all of you have come tonight to be a part of this. It's a different kind of reunion, but I think it would be helpful to those of you who have come and might not be familiar with what other people present tonight have been doing for the 30 or 40 years that we haven't seen one another. And when you think about it, this is so astounding that a conversation that began in 1974 for some of us is continuing today. Where does that happen? And what you have done with your lives, each and every one of you, has given me such a sense of pride, and it's given Milt even more pride than I, because he has told me how he felt about everyone who's here. I want to just tell you quickly, Pablo in Chile was a professional man who had a profession. And of course, when he came here looking for, and he needed work, and thanks to Lonnie, who stepped in and became almost an angelic presence to provide him an introduction to Milt, and then Milt and he became friends and they helped one another. It's just another one of the miraculous things that have happened between members of this family, because we were Milt's family. There's no question in my mind that we were as special and important to him as were members of his own family. I'm doing what I said I wasn't going to do. I'm talking, and I don't want to do that. I want to give you all a chance to tell me what you've been doing, what your life is like. And Ona, by the way, this last thought, Ona, when Milt and I heard that you were wanting to be disassociating yourself from MT, at first we thought, what did we do wrong? But then as we thought about it, we realized your profession was dictating to you what you needed to do, and we understood. At least we thought we did. But I wanted to tell you how proud we both are of your accomplishments in your life, and maybe if you want to tell anybody, tell other people what you're doing.
I'm really sorry.
And this
that,
is being recorded, and we were going to post it privately, but then we were going to open it up. So before you answer, be mindful of the fact that if you would like this to be kept privileged information, we can do that.
Yes, I prefer it to be private, and I'm sorry that the interpretation was that I wanted to be dissociated from the school, because in fact, I had written to Judy that I just asked that the names be taken off the photographs of me on the website, because I am a psychoanalyst and clinical psychologist. I worked at Bellevue Hospital for 22 years, and I'm now in private practice. I don't have any social media presence whatsoever, because it's extremely important that my patients don't know personal information about me, including where I grew up or where I went to school, in high school, or certain things that I said when I was in high school. So that was the only reason for it. It's because of my professional life, and it certainly wasn't about dissociating or, you know, trying to make a cut between myself and the school, which was very important to my my life and my choices in my profession. So I'm sorry if it was interpreted that way. I thought I had made it clear to Judy, and you know, I apologize
Oh,
if it
no,
was
nothing, you did nothing
in
wrong.
that manner.
No, you did nothing wrong. We eventually wisened up and realized that you had very good reasons for, but perhaps our reaction was because of the background in Brentwood. We were always being criticized for something, and we immediately wondered what we had done to insult you or hurt you, and so we acted defensively. But we figured it out.
Oh, good, good, good.
Can I just say
you,
something,
John.
John?
Yes.
John, it's just so good to see Ona and Joanna. Ona and I have this. I hope you still have that little thing I gave you way back when. Maybe not, but we shared birthdays, and that was and I had this little necklace that I had, and I gave that to Ona because she was so special to me. She and Karen White, and I'm really happy to see you.
Yeah, it really blows me away to see you, Ken. It's very moving to me. I've thought of you often, and I'm so glad to see you. And
Now, I didn't know you were
what year
kind
did
of
you
in the same
graduate?
work I was doing, but you're dealing with a different population than what I'm dealing with. So, I know that's a difficult work, but it must be something that you get joy from because you're still doing it after all these years. So I
do.
understand that.
Yes, thank you. I do.
Okay, I guess, John, since we're telling about our lives, and I haven't seen Janet in a very long time, when I came to Maslow Toffler, I was already an electrical engineer and had a graduate degree in counseling and had taught in New York City and Brooklyn. And also I was at LaGuardia Community College as co-op ed coordinator. So I taught at Maslow Toffler. I was a facilitator. I left there, taught electronics for a while, and then I left teaching entirely and became a technical journalist. I wrote many, many magazine articles about technology nationally. And after I left writing, I started a business manufacturing in mainland China. So that's taken me around the world lots. I've been to China probably 100 times. I married a woman with 3 children. We had a 4th. And so now I'm a father of 4, grandfather of 3, ranging from one kid who's in graduate school for mathematics, like grandkid, and one granddaughter who's a year old. We moved to Oregon during the 80s and have remained there since. And life has been really good, full of adventure and fun. My hobbies include being a radio amateur, so I talk around the world quite a bit. And stayed in touch with geopolitics and with the world at large. So life has generally been good. I'm 72 years old. When you and I met, I was in my early 30s, and of course you were in high school. So even though we've both gotten older, we've gotten closer in age percentage-wise. So that's kind of my life story in brief.
Thank you, Michael.
Piggyback on that, and I am currently a teacher, so I don't remember my life without Milt. Like, he just was always there, like literally, and you all know that. And my mom would have people over for dinner in our apartment in Central Islip, and I would be really little in my room and not want to go to sleep because all the interesting people were talking in the living room or the dining room. So Milt was a constant presence in my life, and I think my life would be completely different had I not met him and had he not been my mom's social studies teacher in high school, and been so influential on her that somehow, I don't even know how you got involved with MT, but anyway, obviously MT has just been my breeding ground, and that whole family raised me. You all raised me. And I don't know, it's just been really hard to, you know, like being far away. We're in North Carolina now. I don't think anybody specifically knows that or not, but we left Long Island and went to Connecticut, and I had a career in radio broadcasting in Virginia, and then decided to go into teaching. I probably should have done that first, because that's probably what I was meant to do, because I was surrounded by all of you. And obviously education was something that was instilled really early on, that was a key to enlightenment and self-actualization. So I probably should have done that first, but I selfishly wanted to do things in radio. And then we made our way here to North Carolina. And all that time, like all these different places where we kept going, you know, Milt would come and see us. He came to North Carolina. We kept trying to get him to come here again. Now, in retrospect, we understand why, with his health and everything. But we would go up to, we would take the train. Only for Milt would I go on a Greyhound bus for like 12 hours to go to Philadelphia and visit him. I will never go on a Greyhound bus again after that. And so we would take the train or a plane or something else. But we do those things because you all know how special he was. He was such a special human being. He was unlike anybody that I've ever known. And like you're talking about his, like the way he carried himself, like Milt was always just, to me, just so confident in who he was, and was a model of like a person who was open to things. And I never saw him angry at anything, but boy, that booming voice. And like, I could hear him laugh, and that roar of a laugh. Nobody laughs like that or will laugh like that again, but like, it was so distinctive. He's such a unique human being. And I think we were all so amazingly blessed and honored to even have like a speck of knowing him. And for me I actually considered him a father. You know, like, so when my mom came to MT, you know, she was going through a divorce and had issues, and he, with his psychoanalysis background, like really helped my mom become a person in her own right. And then through that helped me become a person in her own right. And in order to do that, you have to have a person who knows life. And there are, you know, thank you, Pablo, gracias, Pablo, for sharing like pictures that we have never seen before. And I feel like he was the father that I was supposed to have, even though mine was like gone. And I'm so glad that mine was gone. That created this space for all of Milt and his huge personality to come in and fill the room. So the first time I ever experienced a ghost was in his house on Brevoort Place, because everybody was talking downstairs. You know, you always had your secret board meetings and all these like clandestine things that I didn't really understand, being someone who was 5 and 6, but I knew that like important work was going on. But I was upstairs like taking a nap in a room, and I turned over and I heard somebody sigh, but there was nobody there. So like I have all these memories of swimming in his pool, like everything that a girl would want to have in a father, he did for me. And I will forever be grateful for that. And I would not be the educator that I am without MT as a whole, and everybody's niche, that whether it was I went to Janet's house and slept over and formed bonds with people that were not my own family, but I realized family was whoever you surround yourself with that cares about you and accepts you unconditionally. So all of those life lessons are things that I would never have learned had it not been for the school, and not been for every educator who was involved and every student who walked the halls. And so I think I've said enough, but I am just grateful for each and every one of you, and for the role that you played, whether you knew it or not. You have left little imprints that have created a way and a path for me to now influence my students. That wouldn't have happened otherwise. I never expected her to be talking to you guys because she's such an introvert. Except when
Really?
she's on Zoom talking to her students or talking to one of her groups, and she has great groups. She has National Geographic. She has people that she tells me about, oh, I met this person in Sri Lanka and we still continue to talk. And I'm always floored that this is the kid that got her start in MT. And as she said, Milt was there from the time she was 2.5. And every place we traveled, he either sent for us or he came to see us, except this house. He did not see this last house that she bought. And had I known that there was so little time left, I think instead of once a week, I would have been talking to him every day, because there is such a void without Milt. I can't even explain it, but you all know, who have had Milt in your life, that sense of void that nobody else is going to replace. But at least we had him for a while.
Thank you, Vita, for saying that. And Tori, thank you for saying everything you said, because I promised Mom that if necessary, I would try to encourage you to speak up. You didn't need encouragement from me tonight. You stepped out and stepped up, and you said what was in your heart. And thank you for that.
I'll tell you one thing, Milt was really awe-inspiring as a young colleague. I was just in awe of him most of the time. Also a little bit in fear, but definitely in awe.
Why here?
He had a really strong personality, and when he felt something, he felt it strongly, and he let you know. And that's how I experienced him.
That's true.
One thing I really keep remembering about Milt, but it's my favorite aspect of him, I think. And it's that he taught us all so many lessons, but he never laid it out. He never said exactly what the lesson was. He would tell you an anecdote or relate something, mention something that he had experienced, and then just leave you with it. But we learned our lessons of exactly what he was trying to explain without his explanation. You know, a very, very interesting teaching method. And it was very endearing, because you really had to listen, and you learned about his life and you learned about his experiences, but he was teaching something, something higher, something more important. Very, very special that way.
Well said, Johanna. Well said. You're right.
I have a memory of Milt. I lived 3 blocks away from him, and him opening up his home to us students for a Book of the Month club.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? It was a bit controversial because he was having students in the privacy of his home.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
It was just a bit controversial. And how inspired I was by the fact that a teacher would let us in. And now that I look back, that a teacher would let us into his home and do something so wonderful with us students on a Wednesday night in his own private time for our benefit, to this day amazes me. But I have a clear memory of him calling me out because I was particularly quiet one Wednesday night. He called me out and said, "You obviously didn't read this past week because you're never this quiet." So I do have that memory of him in a fun way, but he was absolutely right. I didn't do my homework, and he called me out on it. But 3 blocks away, so I was able to walk to his house and back.
Do you remember the model of the DNA from one of the books that your group read? And it was when you walked in the front door, It was there in that particular room. It was stretched out and it was many colors.
No, I don't, but I remember, didn't he run or try to run for an office?
Board of Yes.
Education. Yes, because I had a meeting at my house and I invited all my neighbors. I handed flyers out to everyone on my street on both sides and around the corner. And he
Yes.
came and my parents made coffee and bought cake. Not one person showed up. Not one. It was him, myself, and my mom and my dad. I remember that at my house. It was supposed to be like a meet and greet.
Yes.
But people were so uninvolved, as to be polite, at the time and what was going on in their children's education, they could not step out of their comfort zone to come meet him. Yeah.
Well, the night of the election, it was really very strange. There was a fire truck that showed up. There was a pizza delivery that showed up.
Yeah.
And these things just went on through the night. It's not surprising nobody showed up because there were other factors going on in the community.
I'm sure there was.
Working for Milt not to be successful with that.
I didn't know about them then, but now as I have lived this many years to see the politics and, and the ugliness of them, I can imagine. I was blind at the time, but I can only imagine what was going on behind the scenes.
Well, you were young.
Exactly. I was living the dream, trying to get my teacher voted in. Yeah.
You and Ken and Karen White being among the most outspoken voices. As a matter of fact, it was almost as if you were the muse that was writing a lot of poetry and lyrics to songs our first year. By the way, copies of those I still have. And I just wish that we could have put the lyrics to music, although you did write the music for several of the songs that were performed that first year, because there was such optimism. I remember the intensity of the feelings of everybody who was involved. We thought we were going to change the world. I think we really believed we were about to change public education in the United States. The funny thing is, we have, for some of us.
Yes.
But
no doubt.
But it didn't quite become as common practice. Thank you. Yes, as we thought it was going to be. But I remember the contribution that you made, Ona, and Ken, that you made, and of course Kenny Moss made with all his productions. It was something that we could all be proud of, that we were, and it couldn't have happened if you hadn't had the courage to take a chance on a group of really crazy educators who were suggesting something so out of the park, and yet you trusted us and you came. And then you helped break in the following year's students and you recruit them to come to us.
John, do you even,
yes, let her in.
Do you even remember actually Ona and Ken Reed and Karen White and a few, well, I can't think of everyone, but the people the first year who went out and explained the school to students in the traditional Ross and Sonderling buildings? And that's the reason why the school was able to open, because we got the 80 students because Ken Reed and Ona and Karen White and Dennis Worrell and some of the other people gathered people along like the Pied Piper, and then the school was able to open because we had 80 people.
It's true.
Johanna, I was just thinking about, I think it was Ona, yourself, me, and John went to the radio station. We had the interview at the radio station, and we did a lot of things like that. And when they were just starting cable TV.
Yes.
But we always seemed to get in the picture, or were able to tell our story, not knowing everything well, but we had a story to tell. We were telling it, you know, based on our experience at the time. And I remember Pete Murray. We were on the panel to hire him. We had opportunity to actually interview those that were going to come alongside Ken, Milt, John, and Johanna. We had the opportunity to interview all those people that were coming on board. So we didn't like them. So we were getting skills along the way, skills of interviewing people, what we were looking for, how do they match the culture. I remember going to Friends World College. I remember going to Hofstra with Joanna, at Delphi. We were all over the place that year, and just sharing the story. And Conrad was so great. He's just a great person. I mean, he kept us out of trouble, but we weren't, we weren't in trouble. But we were kids. We were teenagers, and a lot of us still have those problems going on that teenagers do have. But we just had family there, and I think I was sharing with Joanna. It was the friends we made there. I met people all over the world. After Maslow, Wayne Boynton. I don't know if you guys remember Wayne Boynton.
Yes.
Wayne was part of the first group, 75, 74, 75, that went through. Wayne actually joined the Navy. And I guess 3 years later, I met Wayne in England. He was I was on a vessel in the Marines, and Wayne was on this other ship. And if you know he was like very full of life.
Yes.
And I don't know where Wayne is now. I know Wayne was a real fast runner. He ran on the Brentwood track team. He would blow people away. He was that fast, but he was a big guy. And Wayne took me on his ship. Wayne, I thought he was the captain of the ship because everybody knew him on the ship. And I was like, man, you haven't changed a bit. He was just really good. So I've had the opportunity to just run into people all along. And, when we think about alternative education, I would say that every step along the way, and I have 5 earned degrees, and I remember Milt talking about education is lifelong learning. And my wife's always asking me, why are you taking that course? Why is this? I said, it's just in me. I'm going to take the next course. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's just in me. But I've always looked at the alternative route to get my degree or whatever. I just don't want to do it the regular way. I want to do it the alternative way. And it's just been part of me all throughout my life. My grandkids was like, they're complaining about having to do schoolwork at home. I said, I did that a long time ago. We did the alternative thing a long time ago. And then I get an opportunity to tell them the story about Maslow. So I just thank you guys so much. Joanna, you were the hottest thing. You were the hottest teacher.
Oh yeah.
You need to know that. And but she was so kind, and I told her on another call that she was just so kind. She was always very kind, and I appreciated that.
Well, thank you. And then I became an attorney, and I wasn't kind anymore.
And I couldn't imagine that, but.
Now we'll always remember you with that long, shiny black hair, walking down the hallway, ready to teach your women's consciousness group.
I wanted to make a comment because, well, there were times when students would say to me, "Why are you wearing a coat and tie?" and because that was not the normal costume for people at Maslow. And I think what it was my armor. It was my armor because there were those out there who were slinging arrows at us with a certain regularity, and all I could attribute my costume to was to fight off those who found that we were doing something so unconventional that it must not be good. There were critics out there. I'll tell you one episode. I did present myself to a Board of Education meeting once. I got in line with the citizenry who were asking board members about various subjects, one would think, relative to their youngster in school. Because I was going to confront in all my wet behind the ears kind of attitude about those who had criticized the school without accepting an invitation to come visit us. Fortunately, Dave Marks pulled me out of line and probably saved my job. But I guess I had a bit to learn about dealing with the Board of Education at the Brentwood. I, however, must compliment board members who were behind what we were about to do. And indeed, was it not the case that a board member sent his son to our school?
Felicio.
And I thought certainly the board members who were brave enough to give us the opportunity should be recognized and complimented.
And Conrad, remember something too. You wore your costume, your armor with your suit and tie, but you gave us legitimacy for all those years. You made us legitimate to the outside world in Brentwood. And it's a very, very part of why we were accepted, even though we were doing unconventional programs and our activities were very different from the traditional school. You gave us legitimacy.
And I just also want to say that a famous writer, and I can't remember who it was, once said that the more unconventional you are, the more conventionally you should dress.
Mhm.
I wanted to say to Pablo,
Yes.
hasta pronto. Hasta pronto.
Okay, I want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to meet with all Milton friends. And the last thing I want to say is, Milton, this year, he was so exciting because the meeting is, it's now was available to do, because when we start in March, the quarantine, we talk about different things, what's happened during the year. And for him, this meeting was the big event in a year for Milton. And I remember March, April, we talked about this. Milton, what's happening with your meeting? I know it's mostly time is in August, July, August, but I am sure this year the meeting is not possible to do, but maybe, the technology can be possible to meet for internet, whatever. We talk about this, and he always said, no, I don't know what's happened, but he was a little sad because probably this year the meeting is not possible to do. And I talked with him this in March, April, May, and I remember one day, probably June, I arrived to his home and he told me, oh, I spoke with John and he told me probably it's possible made a meeting this year for Zoom, and he was so excited. And I remember the day when he gave me the news and said, oh, Milton, I told you, maybe this is a new way, the people can be connect in this crazy year. And he was so excited. And I said, oh, when is your meeting? And we waited for a few days when John sent the the possible day, I remember, was in August. And Milton was so excited, and he said, "Oh, but I don't have Zoom. Don't worry, Milton, I will help. And we can figure out everything, and you will be in the reunion with your friends."
I'm so glad.
And I remember we start probably 2-3 weeks before the meeting, and I tried to fix, okay, Milton, what is the option for you be in the reunion? And I remember Milton have the big iPad, the iPad Pro, and I said, okay, I think so your iPad is possible, it's amazing, make the meeting, put the Zoom, the app in the iPad, and you can try use the iPad this day, but don't worry, I will be there with you. And also I've been with Milton the 2 times when they have when you have the reunion. But the funny part was we tried in the beginning with his iPad, but something happened with the frontal camera, because sometimes Milton, he dropped the iPad and probably the camera was broken. And we try and try and try and nothing happened. And I said, okay, Milton, something happened with your iPad. I think so the frontal camera is broken. We need to try with your computer. You know, he have the regular computer in the desk. But in the last time, because he was having trouble to see well, Milton, he started, don't use too much the computer, the regular computer, because to him was more easy to use the iPad. And I remember I've been probably 2 or 3 days, different hours, and tried to fix his computer, because literally the computer, he never used the computer. And when I tried to use, then we need many updates, you know, many things. But finally, I can fix his computer, and we are available to put the Zoom in the regular computer. But the next problem was, oh, something happened with your speaker and with your microphone, and we need to buy for Amazon one, like a headset. But you know, this story is funny because probably we've been for 2 weeks fixing every detail, and finally Milton had the reunion with us in August. And also it was funny because I have the Zoom in my phone and Milton have the Zoom in his computer. And somebody said, okay, Milton, I will leave your apartment and I will go to the password and I will call you. You know, he was in the bedroom and we tried the test if really the app worked. And well, it was so funny, but was super nice memories in the last time. And also is, you know, is involved all us, this group, because with Milton, we tried to make this reunion possible to him. And I was so happy when he will be part in August and later in the next time, the second reunion. And yeah, and always he spoke about all this group. He spoke amazing thing, and mostly when I heard the stories, I remember, oh yes, I remember Milton told me this, you know, and made me feel like a part of all these stories, because I know are real. I heard from Milton, and Milton always had the best word and the best memory about all his friends.
Thank you. Just so you all know, Judy Freilicher is struggling, trying to get on.
I see.
And I wish she could get it, but it may be her internet where she lives. I think it's way up near Canada in New York State. And I think that's the problem. She can't, she's trying.
Can you hear us, Judy?
Yeah, her voice is breaking up when she tries to
She
talk.
can, I think she can hear us,
She
but
may.
we can't talk, she can't
Okay.
talk to us. That's what it is.
Okay.
Do you need a space on your line above here? Is it not? Is the problem the lack of space on our screen?
No,
No.
That has nothing to do
No,
with
it
it.
doesn't. Connie.
No, it's a
No,
more
it makes
complicated.
more space when a person comes on. Pablo, first of all, I just want to say that when you speak, it makes me think how fortunate Milt was to have you by his side in his life. And I only could wish that everyone that I love would have somebody as kind and generous as you to be near them when they need someone. And I don't know you, but I'm very moved by the way that you speak and the way that you talk about Milt. So thank you.
I was saying, no, you know, I am so happy to be part of his life. And it's crazy how, you know, we are two different people, and I don't know what's happened. The destiny meet us, and we become a very good friends with the time. And yes, and finally, I feel him part of my family, and I am sure he feels the same way to me. And also, I want to agree when John spoke before about the last word of Milton in the last meeting, and he was more like a probably emotional. He was more expressed his feelings. And this is a little weird, you know, because Milton always was more like he never expressed too much his feelings, or he was always very careful to use more, you know, I don't know, it's like a lovely word, like he was very polite, but I feel him in the last time, he was more emotional.
Yes.
He was more open about talk his feelings. And yes, and I can feel now when, you know, after all this happened, I try to remember, you know, what's happening the last time, how was this evolution with Milton. And yes, in the last time, definitely he was very emotional, very open to speak about his feelings. And yes, I am sure he know this is probably was his last time here. And you know what? I am happy now, because if Milton, now he's resting in pieces, because this is the time to him. But probably he chose this moment to leave this world, because he was good, you know, like a old person with, you know, a few issues, but I think so he lived this world in the right moment to him.
How old was Milt when he passed?
87.
Pablo, his famous phrase was, "Oh, yes."
Oh, yes.
That's how he would say it. "Oh, yes."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He would never
Yeah.
commit. It was, "Oh, yes."
He had many words. I remember one word he always used. We say, you say something impressive, say, "Oh, unbelievable." And I remember this word all the time when I heard the word unbelievable, is, oh, this is Milton. Yeah, but I am happy for him, because now he's resting, and he lived this world in the specific or right moment to him. This is important, because I know probably with the time he will become probably one really disability person. And I am sure, because he always be very independent, very strong, and probably he don't will like live in this way, you know. If another person probably I need, I don't know, make all his stuff, you know, but my personal stuff, whatever. But yeah, I think so. To me, this is the most right moment to him. It's sad for us, because we still we are here, and yeah, but he's resting, and I think so he have a wonderful life, wonderful friends.
Yes.
And yeah.
I want to say, Pablo, that Lonnie, who couldn't seem to get on today, and hopefully we'll be able to see her the next time we do this, whenever that will be. But
yeah.
Right now, she couldn't get on, but I want to tell you, all of you who may not know, Lonnie has taken it on her own to have Milt's body cremated. She has his ashes, and she has been talking with the Cathedral of St. John the Divine up on the west side of Manhattan
Yes.
to have the cathedral be the last resting place for Milt. There is a plan afoot, which she is waiting on them to confirm for her, that there will be a little niche or a little place that will be a vault, a little vault in the cathedral that will have a gold plaque with Milton K. Siler on the outside of it, where his remains will remain. And when we know where that is, that will be available for us at any time. When we come into the city, if we would like to have a visit, we could stop and be with Milt and his remains. And Lonnie has taken that on to herself.
What was their, where did Lonnie and Milt meet? School teachers?
Milt was head of security at Martin Luther King High School.
Okay.
And she was a dean, worked with him as a dean.
Okay.
I mean, there were a number of deans, but Milt and Lonnie had a very special, a close friendship.
Yeah.
And again, as I say, that's how Pablo and Milt met, because it was through Lonnie's auspices that she brought them together. And she has done some beautiful photography. If you go on the Maslow Toffler website, where the photos and the videos are, you'll see some of her work, just as you will see all of the photographs that Pablo has saved for us and then shared with us. This was a wonderful meeting, and they've given us more time. Obviously, they didn't cut us off after 30 minutes. So
Right, because it's 8:13.
What's that?
I said it's 8:13, and we're still.
Yes, and we're still able to visit with one another. Listen, if there's anyone who would like to say something that you have not yet said, or you'd like to share some thoughts, by all means, we have the time and we have the ability to do that with one another.
John, I'm going to have to take my leave now, but I wanted to just extend my just wonderful, wonderful feelings at seeing each and every one of you. And John, thank you, and thank Heather for putting this together, because I know what a technological miracle she creates every time she touches a computer, this young lady. But all of you, thank you so much, and thank you for being here tonight so that I could have such a wonderful, uplifting time in my heart.
Thank you, Johanna. Thank you.
Thank you, Johanna.
See you all again soon, I hope. And be well.
Bye, Johanna. And I also have to go.
Yes.
And I really want to say that I really appreciate the opportunity to see everybody and to, you know, I was thinking about what you said earlier, John, about the first class, including Ken and Judy and myself, and, you know, taking a chance. And I just thank all of you who created this space, and that it was a particular time in our culture and in our society where it seemed very possible to change the world.
Yes.
And of course, we were adolescents, so we had a fervor to change the world. And it was a very special and beautiful opportunity to be surrounded by those in whatever they were wearing, whatever garb they were costumed in, that also believed that things could change. And I think we need that spirit in the world more than ever right now. So much appreciation, and thank you so much for that. That's stayed.
Ona, I just want to say, for who you are, and if Ken were here, Ken would explain, as only Ken can explain, how he feels about you because we've talked about you, and I know what a profound impact you had on his life, and I suspect he had on your life. And I just want to tell you I love you. I love all of you because you have given me such joy in my life for having allowed me into the most sacred places of your being to share with you what I saw, what I felt, and to tolerate my messing around with your souls because I felt many times that's what I was doing. That's what we were all doing. And they said, well, you can't deal with religion. This is a public school. We dealt with spirituality all the time. And I think it's one of the things that made us so successful because we recognized that the human part of the spiritual part of a human being was the third leg of the stool. There was body, mind, and spirit. And we dealt with all of that. And it was because of your courage and your willingness to be a part of that experience that we were able, and I think, to provide a model even today for what the whole country has been looking for. And I believe that to the tips of my toes and the top of my head, that what we had was a model of what everybody has been looking for. And it doesn't cost a lot of money, and it's not out of reach, but it required the chemistry of the few people that we were and a few students that you were to come together to be able to make it work. And while others around us would say this can't be, it's impossible. You can't be doing this. It's impossible. And all we could have to say was, well, take a look. We're doing it. It's happening. And so for that,
Absolutely.
I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I don't think we're finished.
Thank you.
There's more to be done. Ona, what were you going to say?
I have to leave, unfortunately.
Yes,
but
she was gonna say goodbye.
Okay. Okay.
A bientôt.
I don't.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Well, gang, what do you think? I
Where did-
think it's
where
probably
I wanted to ask, where did Ken land?
whereas Ken is living upstate, but I think the internet that he has there is such that he can't, like Judy is trying to get on and can't. I think that's the
She can
problem.
hear whoever's talking.
Oh, she can hear whatever's, Heather's telling me she can hear us.
Right, she just can't
She
participate.
can't
Yeah.
participate.
No, I think
And
it's
see
interesting.
Kevin and
I think it's
see
interesting.
Kelly, and I'm so happy that you joined us today. And I'm so, I know that you probably could talk forever because of your experiences, but I'm just happy you were able to join us today. And I suspect it's a good time for us to say goodnight. And until the next time, we know we'll see one another again. Ken, I will speak with many of you on the phone. That's what I will do. And as long as I have a phone number or an email address where I can reach you, we will talk and we will keep the conversation open and going. But for tonight, I think it's a good time for us just to say goodnight.
Unless somebody wants to say something before we leave.
Yeah, of course.
I just want to say how Maslow Toffler is such a milepost for all of us. It represents an experience that we can talk about with awe. It's an amazing kind of thing. I know I bring it up every so often. I want to talk about education and how life was just an amazing inflection point. You know, students benefited from it. The staff benefited in ways that I think are remarkable as well. And I'd like to thank John for putting this together, for staying in touch, for being my mentor, and also Conrad. You know, for the relatively few years I was at Maslow Toffler. Again, it was just such a milepost.
Michael, I want to thank Mike Ross. That is, I want to thank you for the photograph that you sent me. I couldn't believe my eyes because I checked it out. And you're right, it's available online. If you put the address in to the internet of Brentwood of Paradise Lane in Brentwood,
Lane.
Long Island, 11717, you will be given a photograph, an aerial photograph of the sacred ground on which our school once sat. And it's now been flattened, it's raised, there's nothing there. There are not even two bricks on top of one another. But as Michael said, the school is not about mortar and bricks, it's about people. And we've taken it with us. We carry it within.
You know, if I could say one final thing before everybody leaves too. You know, I lectured and talked a lot around the world. And one of the things that I always talked about had to do with like energy medicine was a thing called entrainment. Entrainment is a sort of byproduct of resonance. There's a couple of famous, there's like the cuckoo clock experiment. There was this German clockmaker, and he had all of these cuckoo clocks on the wall. And something that he realized was all the pendulums would start to synchronize with each other over time. And he even tried, all right, we'll wind them all equally and we'll put all of them, he got a whole bunch of people to help him, we'll put all the pendulums in different spots, and they were all out of sync. And within 72 hours, they were all entrained to each other again. And this happens with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that John wanted to kind of take a back seat because he wanted to hear what everybody said. And, you know, and I know we all kind of miss Milt already, but I have to say that the John, over the years, to me, the two of them have always been kind of inseparable. You know what I mean? They've always been like resonant with each other. And if I need to, I think if I needed to talk to Milt about something right now, I could probably go to John and get a really good feeling that I was able to do that as well. And the same with Conrad and everyone else. And, you know, and we were talking about also the fact that it's like, oh, if only this could have gone farther, you know? But the fact is that Maslow Toffler resonated with each of us, everyone that's here and everyone that we've touched. I mean, my kids know about Maslow Toffler. And, you know, and there are so many people over the years that I've touched. And it's the same thing with everybody here. You know, I mean, I believe that we are passing that on. You know, another experiment that they would do is if you take, and this is good for the musicians out there, if you take a tuning fork and you have an equal tuning fork, a sympathetic tuning fork, and you strike it and you keep it next to another tuning fork that you don't strike, and then you quelch or quiet that one, you'll hear the tune resonating on the other tuning fork. This is just a natural thing, and it happens with people as well. So I find it hard to believe that what you guys started way back then isn't still resonating and making its impact on the world.
Yes. We hand it down to our children and to their children.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Put this together for us again.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
I have the old, is there an updated list of contacts?
There, Judy has the only list that I know of. And a lot of those emails are out of date because I contacted everybody that I could contact, but the emails are not in use anymore.
Okay.
So I think people have to, if they want to be part of the community, they're going to have to connect. And I'm not suggesting Facebook is the best place to go for that. Whereas we have a maslowtoffler.com, thanks to Judy, who has been the webmaster for us. I will send her information. She will post it and has done so for all of the years that we've been doing this, right from the get-go. By the way, that's a word there's a phrase that I got from Ken. I remember Ken used to use that expression. I'm still using it. And I think of you every time I say it.
Naomi Wolf apologized for not being on tonight.
Thank you.
She didn't feel good, so she
Thank you.
sends hugs and well wishes, but she's not feeling, it's not COVID, but she just has a really bad headache and it's not feeling well. So she said, hopefully the next one.
Okay. So we'll have to do this again, Vita. We'll do it. Okay, Tori?
That's good.
All right.
Hey, Tori, I think I saw you last time. I didn't get a chance to tell you this. I used to hold you.
Yes, Ken, you did.
I hold my grandkids the same way right now. So
You were a cutie.
yes, you were. Yeah. I pray that all of you stay safe and be well, and
You
God
too, Ken.
bless each and every one of you
Thank
until
you.
we see each other again.
I pray the same.
Wash your
Take care.
hands.
Safe.
Well,
Wear your mask.
Wear
Wear your
may
mask
I
and
bid
wash
you
your hands.
all a goodbye.
And don't forget to
And-
vote.
What?
Don't forget to vote.
Oh, I already have.
Don't
Already
forget,
Don't wait.
don't forget to
That's been
pray.
accomplished.
We are
Um,
very civilized here. We've had mail-in voting for decades. Only mail-in voting.
Before I depart, and I use that term loosely, I'll be 94 at the end of the month.
God bless
Oh,
you.
And
congratulations.
I'm still upright and taking nourishment, but I would leave you with a thing that I always remember. May this circle be
Be unbroken.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah, and where is Steve?
I'm here.
He was oftentimes the voice back when, and I do remember that and how fondly I held that in my soul.
And we sang that The Dark Side of the Moon was the play that we did, and we sang that song, The Dark Side of the Moon.
That's exactly correct. And that's where I followed your lead, Kenny, and brought it to the family every chance I got. For 2 straight years, we sang it all the time.
Well, fond memories and good night to you all.
Good night.
Good night, Conrad.
And in Milt's word, bless you.
Bless you.
God bless.
Good night, everyone.
God bless.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.